The bi-weekly Wiccan Service podcast is brought to you by TechWitch Detroit. TechWitch Detroit for all your IT needs. Please visit us on the web at techwitchdetroit.com. techwitchdetroit.com. We can help. This episode of PPT Presents is brought to you by Pagan Pathways Temple. Pagan Pathways Temple is a 501c3 out of beautiful Madison Heights, Michigan. We offer classes, rituals, rental space, and a library to our members. To find out more or to become a member, please write to paganpathwaystemple@gmail.com or come find us on Patreon at patreon.com/paganpathwaystemple. Pagan Pathways Temple, growing in the old ways where all paths are open.
Should probably start over here, huh? Okay, today's going to be an interesting day. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I have a voice thing going on. My voice is not cooperating today, so bear with me if you can't hear me. I will project as loud as I can, but unfortunately, laryngitis is a thing. But that has a lot to do with why I'm here today. As I was telling you before, the reason this particular sermon came to mind was because I was having some issues of late, very difficult past few months, as I've repeated here more than one occasion. And so there have been some questions in my mind about what I should do going forward. And you know how you get when you're upset and you're tired and you're hurting and you just want to go, man, forget all this and curl up and say I quit. Well, I was toying with that idea, and so my gods were very much like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I really appreciate that. I can understand what you're going through, and it looks like you're suffering down there. And then they smack the snot out of me and go, what are you talking about? You have stuff to do. So that's why I'm here. So we're going to talk today about commitment. How committed we are to the things that we're committed to. Now, I want to be drinking coffee throughout because I'm trying to get my voice back. So, Mr. Les Brown, one of my favorite people, said in a speech he was giving, in a breakfast of bacon and eggs, the chicken was involved, the pig was committed. And it took me a minute to kind of get that the chicken was involved. It laid an egg, okay, that got unfertilized and then eventually became, eggs on your plate. The bacon had to give it all up. And that's sort of what I mean when I'm talking about commitment. I don't mean like, okay, well, did you commit to, getting to work on time, which is a commitment, but it's, you can, if you're a minute late or so, you kind of give yourself leeway. When I'm talking about commitment, what I'm talking about is, what is it that you have focused your attention and time on in life? Because whether or not you consciously do it, you commit to things in your life. The question is, what are you committing to? Most of the time, if you ask most people about their life and you talk to them for about 15 minutes, you can figure out what they're committed to. If you look at their lives, you can figure out what they're committed to. Excuse me. So, I was speaking with one of my friends recently about life, liberty, and the pursuit. And for about the first 20 minutes of our conversation, it was just a diatribe of negative and how much they hate people and how bad things are. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot going on. That's a lot. And they were like, yeah, it's, people suck and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's great. But what are you doing? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, what are you doing about the world sucking and people in general sucking? What are you doing about it? Well, I there's nothing I can do. And I said, well, that's a lie. No, it's not. I mean, I'm just one person. I'm like, one person literally can change the world. But the question you should ask yourself is, what are you focused on? Are you focused on actually solving the problem? Or are you focused on talking about the problem and telling everybody what they're doing wrong? They got angry with me. So it's usually how it goes. But that's the point. I mean, if you really look at the focus of your life, the things that you're actually doing on a daily basis, it'll tell you what you're committed to. If you are constantly negative, if you are constantly angry, if you're constantly sad, if you're constantly focused on the things that are wrong with your life, it'll show you what you're committed to. Okay? You're committed to, like, there's an individual that I know who has stage 4 cancer, who knows that she is dying. She knows that it's a guarantee written in the program. And yet the focus is on business and community and growing spiritually. And it's like the disease is a secondary thing. It's like, yeah, I know I got that, but I got all this other stuff that I'm doing right now that's far more important than that thing. Yeah, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to give myself as much, health as I can to stay alive for as long as I can. But my focus is on doing this thing, doing that thing, and doing the next thing. I'm not focused on this death sentence, because the truth is we all got one. The difference is she happens to know when hers is going to be about. So there are people who don't have stage 4 cancer, who have a cold, and they're focused on the cold. Forget life, forget their goals, forget everything they've been trying to do. They get focused on what's wrong. And then they commit to being sick. And by that I mean everything that they do is now tailored towards, I'm not okay, I'm sick, I can't do this thing. And they commit to that versus committing to the thing that's going to overcome it. I know people are going to get mad at me about that. That's okay. The reason I say that is because I speak for a living most of the time. Okay? A big portion of my job here at the temple is talking. So logic would dictate, if you have laryngitis and can't speak, or it hurts your throat to talk, what do? You stop talking and you just, you go and let it go. I can't do that. I thought about it for about 15 seconds, and then I was like, wait a minute, no, I can't do that. We have a service to do today. I have shoots to do today. I have a business to run. I have all these things that I'm doing. I have a commitment to the people who come to my service, who watch our service. I have a commitment to this temple, and that means I'm not going to stop because I'm sick. I'm not going to stop because it hurts. I'm not going to stop because it's inconvenient. I'm going to do what's necessary to temper it as much as I can, but I'm going to do what I need to do. Joy Mangano says, you have to make a decision. Am I going to be the person that takes the risk? Am I going to be the person that says, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to follow through with it no matter what the obstacles? And that's kind of the point. A lot of time you talk to people and you tell them, okay, you have control of your life. And they're like, yeah, but, or not really, I don't. And I don't think people fully comprehend how much control they actually have over their lives. And all it really takes is commitment. There's a reason why the United States government has a contingency plan in place for what they call the committed man. Okay, and this is a person who has decided, I will die to accomplish my mission, because they know there's nothing you can do to stop that guy. Because someone who's willing to die to accomplish their mission will do anything. And that's a dangerous, dangerous thing. And they know that they're not worried about armies. They're worried about that person who says, I will die before I quit. They are the most dangerous people on the planet. And that's really what we're talking about here is, are you committed to the thing you say you want to do or you want to accomplish in life? Are you really committed to it? And if you are, what are you willing to pay to get it? What are you willing to suffer through to get it? Because that determines whether or not it gets accomplished. If you are willing to die for a thing, I don't care what that thing is, you'll get it because you'll do whatever is necessary. The problem is we think because we tried once, well, that's all I tried. So you tried. Now what? Oh, wait, you try again. And you try again, and you try again, and you try again, and you try again. You keep trying and you keep failing. You keep pushing regardless of the circumstances because the only out for you is death. That's the only thing that stops you if you're truly committed to something. When we first started here at the temple, there were people who actually sat on the board at one point who flat out said, I didn't think you guys would last a month. And then you made it 3. And then I said, okay, maybe not 6. And then you made it a year. And then after a year, I'm like, well, geez, I got to figure out what's going on here because people don't understand what true commitment is. And when they see it, it looks foreign. It looks alien to them. When people see real commitment, it looks like you're crazy. What do you mean? But you got punched in the nose. What do you mean you're still going forward? You mean you hit a roadblock? You didn't have any money. You didn't have any support. You had nothing but negative press. Why are you still going forward? Because death is the only out. That's commitment. That's what it looks like, and it's scary as all hell. It scares normal people because for them, the first time it gets hard or it starts to hurt, they stop. Peter Drucker says that unless commitment is made, there are only promises and hopes, no plans. The reason why most people don't accomplish their goals is because they make a plan. They make a really good plan and they're like, it's very detailed and they got all kinds of charts and pictures and representations of different goals and landmarks that they're going to achieve. And they got this really great plan and it's awesome. And then they start working the plan and they trip and fall right out the gate and they go, the plan didn't work. Got to redo the plan or got to start a new plan. The plan isn't the problem. The plan is not the problem. If you decide that you are going to walk to Washington State right now, and you decide to get out there on the road and start walking, as long as you don't stop walking, you'll make it to Washington State. As long as you eat on the way and drink water on the way, you will make it to Washington State. It will suck. It will hurt. You will probably get some injuries along the way, but you will make it to Washington State. The question isn't whether or not you can. The question is whether or not you're committed to it or not. The question is whether or not you got the will to pull it off. When we talk about as we will at Samoa to be, that's what we're talking about. How committed are you to this thing, to who you are? Because that's your choice. That's your decision. You can have all the best plans in the world. You can be the smartest person in the world. And that's a lot of the problem is that we got a lot of smart people who come up with really great plans. And they're amazed at how wonderful their plan is until they factor in the fact that you actually have to pull it off. Then you actually have to, you mean I actually have to do the plan? Well, yeah, but that's hard. Yeah, it is. Convincing people that you are right or that your plan is good is extraordinarily difficult. And I'm going to tell you a secret. You're not going to believe this. I call them sandcastle kickers. These are people who wait for you to build the castle. This really elaborate sandcastle. And they wait for the sole purpose of coming over to kick your castle over. That's their joy in life, is to come over and nitpick at your castle and figure out how to knock it down. So they can go, see, the castle sucked anyway. It was made of sand. See? Because their vision of life is that life sucks and that your castles always fall. So they go around kicking down castles of other people to make sure that they affirm their truth that castles fall. That's going to happen the moment you announce your plan. The moment you start implementing your plan, they're going to come along and go, oh, I see a castle going up. Where's my boots? Because that's what they do. That's their thing. I guarantee you, the moment you say you're going to do something, there are people who love you who will give you about 4,000 reasons why you shouldn't do it. They'll give you every reason in the world why you shouldn't do it. And they'll be right. You know, people aren't going to like you if you do that, or that's going to cause you all kinds of drama. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough energy. How are you going to live a life? Aren't you supposed to have some time to rest? Aren't you supposed to, calm down? You're supposed to watch some TV and chill out. Yeah, but I'm not doing that. I got this plan, see? That's the thing. You start implementing your plan, and the universe is going to challenge you. People go, well, the universe is against me. No, it's not. It wants to see if you're serious. And it's not even the universe, to be honest, it's you. It's you challenging you to see if you're really serious about the thing you say you want. Because in order for you to become the new person, you have to kill the old person. In order for you to live the new life, you have to destroy the old life. You have to walk away from those things that have been holding you back, even if those things are close to you and endearing to you. You have to walk away from them in order to get the new thing. And that's a hard thing. So you test yourself, and the universe tests you to say, are you serious? Do you really want this? It challenges you to see how committed you are to this new path. And if the first time you get tested, you fall back, the answer's given to you. I wasn't that committed. I really didn't commit to it. I really didn't want it. I mean, and that's not true. You really did want it, but not bad enough to die for it. Not bad enough to do the work for it. And people say that, I die for it. They say it real easy. You know what's harder than dying for something? Living for something. People will go into a situation where they know death is assured quicker than they would go into a situation that they know pain is assured. We do a warrior's ritual around here every now and again to test how badly do you want to be a warrior? Because you say you want to, but are you willing to consciously walk into pain to get it? Because being a warrior means consciously walking into a punch, constantly walking into pain, constantly walking into suffering, putting yourself in harm's way for other people. That means you are consciously going towards something that you know will cause you harm, which is counter to human nature. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. It will run you away from everything that could cause you danger. So being a warrior means conquering that part of your brain and saying, I will do the hard thing anyway. The same applies to anything you want to accomplish in life. Anything. Because your brain will tell you all the reasons why it's hard or it'll hurt, and you shouldn't do it. Tony Robbins says that there's no abiding success without commitment. One of the more dangerous things along your path to achieving whatever it is you're trying to achieve, whether it's, magical prowess or, skills in the art or a greater understanding of self and the universe or whatever it is in your life, one of the greatest pitfalls of that is of limited success. Because once you get a limited success, you think, I got it. You ever met someone who actually got their first spell to work or their first ritual to work, and then all of a sudden they're the most powerful witch on earth? I am Nashan. I have cast a spell to make sure that my cat didn't die, so now I control the forces of life and death. No, you just got a spell off. That's good. But the point is that success isn't the end, any more so than that failure would be the end. If you were to attempt something and fail, the first thing you should do is go, what did I learn? How can I make it better? The same applies, and probably even more so, to the success. When you do something that works, you don't go, I made it, I'm done. You go, what did I learn to make the next step even better? What did I learn to make myself stronger so that when the next challenge comes, which I know is going to be harder, how do I overcome that? That's the hard part. Success has this tendency to make us feel comfortable, make us complacent, and make it easier for us to just kind of go, I made it now. I don't have to do anymore. I can lollygag and chill out. Excuse me. In a very practical sense, commitment is deciding to make the same decision to do a thing or not do a thing, regardless of the changing circumstances or feelings related to it. Nashan. That is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do. Because we've all decided, I am going to the gym, and I am going to go to the gym every week, and I am going to be committed to my workout once a week or twice a week, every week from now on. And then we go to the gym, and we work out, and we go home, and it hurts a lot. And then suddenly, when it's time to go back to the gym, we're like, yeah, well, it's late. I'm really kind of tired today. I should give myself some rest. There's a show on I've been waiting to see. We come up with all of these excuses. When we're talking about commitment, we're talking about putting in pre-built barriers to the excuses that you're going to come up with. Figuring out who you are enough to know, if I commit to this thing, I have to give myself no outs. Because the brain is great. The human brain is awesome. It will rationalize anything. You can throw any problem at it, and it will come up with a reason why you can't do it, or a reason why you shouldn't do it, or a reason why it's going to fail. No matter what it is, if it'll keep you comfortable and sitting on the couch, your brain will come up with all kinds of excuses, up to and including the government wants you to go to the gym so it can control you through the machines. And the government is after you. Just saying. Your brain will come up with all kinds of nifty excuses to keep you from doing the thing that makes you uncomfortable. It's designed to. That's its job. You have to decide who's in control, the animal brain or the higher consciousness. Who's actually running the show? If every time something hard happens, you stop, well, that's the instinct. That's animal brain. If you are able to overcome that instinct, you can do extraordinary things. Les Brown also says that you need to make a commitment, and once you make it, then life will give you some answers. Almost every single person that I talk to, when they tell me things like, I have depression, they're like, okay, you have depression. Yes, I can't do anything. Like, that's not true. You can do some things. You can't do all the things you want because you have depression. That's a thing. But here's a way that you can start to overcome depression. And everyone tells me that I'm wrong. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I may be wrong. But so are most psychologists, most doctors, and most health and fitness gurus who say the same thing. You know what helps to cure depression, or at least start about in 5% of the people? Moving. Walking. Getting up and going somewhere. Getting up and walking around the block however many times. Does that mean you're not going to be depressed if you walk around the block? No. But it helps. Getting up and moving causes the body to change modes. When you're in a sedentary state, your body starts to relax and you go into your brain. Your brain starts doing all of this activity because you're locked into your head. And so then usually what I call the circus of depression, it's when your brain goes da 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 and tells you all the things that are shitty about you. And it just keeps playing them on a loop like a big merry-go-round. You suck because of this and you suck because of that. And when you're sitting there, you can get caught up in there for hours. I have drifted off into the circus of depression for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and realize I'm just staring at a wall. Because the circus of depression is its own entertainment in and of itself. It keeps your brain active. But if you get up and walk, it changes your mode, or at least it shifts your brain from the internal thinking to the external thinking, if only so I don't trip. Okay? If only because I'm walking and my environment keeps changing. If only because the temperature is changing. If only because there's a car that went by and there's a horn. It changes your input, and it changes you from an internal dialogue to an external stimuli. So the purpose of it is not to, above all, cure depression. It's not. But it does help. It does help. But man, when I walk, it makes me feel like I'm fat. Well, I am fat. So, but guess what walking does? It helps with that. If you get up and walk. I know. I'm going to get in trouble for that one too. I'm okay with that. Jerry Lewis says that I have a loyalty that runs in my bloodstream. When I lock into something or someone, you can't give me away from it because I commit thoroughly. That's in friendship. That's a deal. That's a commitment. Don't give me paper. I can get the same lawyer who drew it up to break it. But if you shake my hand, that's for life. Here's the hard one. I had a friend who disliked people. Said people suck. And he told me that you can't count on anybody to do anything. And he was telling me about it, and I said, okay, can I ask you a question? You've been telling me about all these people who betrayed you and all these people who did you wrong and all these people who just didn't have your back when you needed them. He's like, yeah, they're terrible people. And I'm like, okay, how many people have you committed to? What do you mean? How many people have you committed to in what I call ride or die? Well, I can't count on nobody, so I don't commit to nobody like that. So in other words, you want to receive that ride or die mentality. You want someone to be down for you come hell or high water, but you're not willing to give it. You're not willing to commit that I'm with you whether you're popular or everybody hates you. I'm with you whether you're rich or poor. I'm with you regardless of whether you're happy or sad. We are in it together. Let's ride. That is a different mentality than most people have. Most people are your friend until it's no longer convenient. Most people want to be cool with you as long as you're cool and people like you and it's popular. Most people want to be your friend as long as you're happy. You want to know who's your friend? Go into the pit. Go into the darkness and see who's still around. Then you'll see. You'll see. Because they'll show you. The moment you start heading off into the pit, people are going to go, oh, I can't deal with that right now. You want to have ride or die people. You want to have that commitment. You got to show it. You got to demonstrate it because other people are going through the same thing you are. They're being betrayed by people and being left behind by people. And because of that, they don't trust. So they're like, well, if you're not giving ride or die, why should I give ride or die? If you're not willing to commit to me, why am I willing to commit to you? You're not showing me nothing. Now, but Stan, if you do that, people are going to use you. Yup. You're right. Some people don't understand ride or die. They don't. So when you offer it, they're going to go, yeah, I'm ride or die too. And then when it's time to ride, they're going to be like, oh, well, I was gonna, but my bike had a flat and my chain broke and I can't really ride right now. My ankle hurt. They're gonna have all the excuses. That's what I'm saying. But that's going to happen. Does that mean you don't offer ride or die? No. Because if you don't offer it, you can't get it. There are people who are going to take that ride or die and be like, come on, ride or die for me. Come on again. One more time. And again. And then when it's, when you're like, hey, This ride or die thing goes both ways. You're going to be like, oh, no, I don't do that. I mean, I'm me. So you're going to run into that too. Does that mean you don't ride or die? No. You still got to do it. It's going to hurt. It's going to be inconvenient. It's going to get you abused by some people, and you have to learn your lines. If someone demonstrates to you that they're not ride or die, then you understand. Ride or die is off the table. Got to bring that back. I can't ride with you. Because as soon as it gets hard, you're going to quit because you're not committed. You want commitment from people, you got to give commitment to people. That's hard and scary and painful. And your brain will go, oh, that's scary. Can't do that. That's hard. Oh, you got to go the other way on that. That is the natural instinct. So you're fighting against that. But in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve, you got to do it. Excuse me. There's a thing that I used to play video games online long time ago. And I used to, before the temple and before I had all this real world stuff to do, I used to run a guild on a game called Asheron's Call. And I was one of the co-leaders on this guild. And we formed this guild in retaliation to this other group that was kind of jerks. So we were focused on fighting them. And you learned in that game who was committed and who was not, based on whether or not they went to this other group that offered them all kinds of cool stuff, but were cheating and mean and all that stuff. So we were really focused on finding people who were committed. So we named our group The Last Stand. We were committed. We were all just tired of being abused by this larger group, and we formed this one group that we were just ride or die. We are going to destroy them. And the pinnacle, you could, and it took months of getting people together and convincing people to stay with it, and you lost people to the other group, but ultimately you found out who was committed to your organization, who was committed to the guild, and then we formed a group so strong that we were 3,000 members strong. The other group was 5, but we were 3,000 members strong. And this smaller group, we took on their headquarters. That was the height of our power. We took on their headquarters and took it over and held it for 48 hours. That's what commitment gets you. We were outnumbered, outgunned, but we were just like, we're not going to stop. You're going to get tired before we get tired. And we set up a rotation schedule of constant, vigilant, maintaining, holding their home, which pissed them off to no end because they couldn't play. We kept them from coming on because it was like every time you come on, you die. So we were committed, and it sounds silly. It sounds silly, but in order for any organization to flourish, you'll find this in corporate politics. You'll find this in religious organizations and businesses all over the world. Loyalty to your organization is valued above everything. Everything. The reason for that is because people who are committed to your organization will do whatever is necessary for that organization to prosper. People who are not, quit. People who are not, take what they learn from you and take it somewhere else. People who are not, will not burn for your organization, and bosses don't want that. So if you're a part of a company and you're just constantly on the job search site, don't ask for the promotion. You're not going to get it. If they see you constantly on Indeed.com updating your resume, they're not going to promote you because they know you're not staying. Now, does that mean you got to stay with a company for 30 years? No. But while you're there, be committed. Be down. One of the things that I pride myself on is whatever organization I'm working for at the time, they get 100%. They get 100%, whether I've known about this organization before or not. But while I'm there, I'm down. I'm with it. I'm in. I'm buying in. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Let's go and make this happen. We're going to get this done. Because that's the only way organizations really flourish, is when people are seriously committed. It's easy to quit when it's hard. That's the easy part. Anybody can do that. I got in an argument with one of my coworkers. I quit. I quit now. Well, that's easy. But if you want your organization to really flourish, if you want your relationships to really flourish, if you want your friendships, your social groups, whatever it is, to really flourish, you got to commit. And that means I don't leave when it's hard. I don't walk away because they do something I don't like. It means that regardless of whether or not they're 100%, they get everything right, I'm still here. So when I had my little moment where I felt like this community, these people, my guys were like, hey, wake up. Why are you doing this? It's not because of that. It's not because I expect perfection. It's not because I don't expect it to be hard. It's because I love this community. I love these people. I love our craft. I love what we do. I love what being pagan is. I love who we are. I love the type of people that we attract. I love everything about us. So I can't leave. This is home. I can't quit. This is home. And you know what? You don't leave your home because you got a leaky roof. You don't leave your home because you got mice in the basement. You get some traps and you get up on a roof and you do some work. That's what you do. Is it easier to quit? Sure. Much easier. I mean, it's like I try to remind people, I had a whole bunch of hobbies before I joined the pagan community that I was just as, committed to and had a whole lot of fun with. I had a guild of 3,000 people. It was a lot of fun. But it didn't accomplish anything of meaning. It didn't. It was fun. It entertained me. But ultimately, it didn't matter to the world. Question is, do you want to matter? I want to matter. I want this community to be better because I was here. I want the earth to be better because I was here. I want humanity to be better because I was here. And if I'm committed to that mentality and that way of thinking, then you got to do the hard thing. You got to commit. Where are we at on time? Ooh, running long. Bob Dylan says a mistake is to commit a misunderstanding. We all make mistakes. It's part of being human. But usually if you dig below the surface, it's because you didn't understand something that was supposed to happen, or you tried something and you didn't understand how far to go or how much effort to put into it. Mistakes are going to happen. That's kind of part of the process. And it's important that you make them. It's important that you commit enough to a process or to a way of doing things that you expect mistakes and accept mistakes. You ever been talking to a friend and you say something and you realize that was the wrong thing to say? Because they just go off and you're like, okay, we were not trying to go there. We were trying to get the calm and I just set you off. So the question is, you just go, I'm going to stop talking to him. Or do you go, course correction, let me turn that around. Let's talk about the other thing again. And you don't just quit on your friend because of the fact that you said something wrong. The same applies to you. When you're living your life and you're doing the things that you're doing, you're going to screw up from time to time. And it's important that you do so that you can learn how to gauge how much to put into a thing, or how much or which way to put your effort into a project or to a way of life. I have a small problem with the gym when I actually do go. I love the gym. I overindulge every time I go. I get in the gym and I will be there for 2-3 hours and just push myself to the limit because I love it. But that's not healthy either. Because the day after, I can't bend my arms past here. The day after, I have trouble walking. Okay, there's a way of pacing yourself that you have to learn, and it comes from screwing up from time to time, and that's okay. It's important that you do. The question is, are you committed enough to be able to make a mistake, to look yourself in the mirror and say, I made a mistake, and I'm going to keep going? Or does your commitment depend on perfection? Most people's commitment depends on perfection. If they make one mistake, they do one thing wrong, or one thing doesn't work, they quit. When people ask, why can't I achieve my goals? I'm like, because you don't believe you can. So the first time there's a mistake that's made you stop. If you decide, I'm going to keep going no matter what, and people say no matter what, until no matter what shows up. People say ride or die until ride or die time happens. In immortal words of Eric Thomas, okay, everybody want to be a beast till it's time to do what beasts do. Okay, it's hard to do the extraordinary. Otherwise, everybody would be doing extraordinary. It'd be called the normal. Because everybody would do it. Doing something extra, doing something worth doing requires serious commitment. Zig Ziglar says, when you encourage others, you in the process are encouraged because you are making a commitment and a difference in that person's life. Encouragement really does make a difference. It is extraordinarily easy and common for people to look at how commitment benefits them. But the most important aspect of commitment has absolutely nothing to do with you. It has to do with everyone else. There was one of the stories that my motivational speakers tell all the time is about, matter of fact, I think it was Les Brown, who talks about this guy who, and I can't remember his name, who up until that time in human history, they believed that humans were not able to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. And they believed it because no one had ever done it until this one guy did it. And he said, since then, 20,000 people have run a 4-minute mile or less. And they're like, why? It's because people now saw that it could be done and they believed it could be done. So since he had achieved what everyone thought was impossible, it became possible. So then others were willing to put themselves out there to commit enough to be able to do it. What drives human progress, what drives achievement, what drives growth, what drives the evolution of mankind are those who are willing to test the limits of human experience and push past them in order to create something that never existed, to do something that everyone thinks is impossible, to demonstrate to humanity that anything is possible. Because when we do that, others are inspired by that thing that we've accomplished, that understanding and commitment to that thing that we've decided to do, and they decide to commit. We inspire others to do more, and that benefits everyone. That benefits the world. Our commitment is not just for us. It's for our children. It's for our friends. It's for our coworkers. It's for the people we have never even met who will hear about our story second, third, and fourth hand. It's for people who will see our accomplishment 10 years from now, or even when we're gone, and recognize what it is that we built and how hard it must have been to build it, and it will inspire them to do more. Your commitment to what you are put on this world to achieve and to accomplish and to create isn't just for you. It benefits all mankind. If you're committed enough to achieve it. If you're committed enough to make it real. We are creators. It's the nature of who we are and what we do. We use our will to shape the world. How strong that will is determines how much we can shape, how much we can change, what we can build. Robert Kennedy says that it's not enough to understand or to see clearly. The future will be shaped in the arena of human activity, by those willing to commit their minds and their bodies to the task. There was a time when there were no airplanes. There was a time when there was no home computer. There was a time when the idea of a global economy was foreign. There was a time when the idea of accepting people for who they are and how they live was foreign to people. There was a time when interracial marriage was foreign. It wasn't something you did. But the evolution of mankind has come from individuals who are willing to put in the work, to suffer through what needs to be suffered through, and to fight in order to make change. I often tell people, especially people of African American descent, you have absolutely no right to not vote. No right at all. Well, I have every right. No, you don't, because too many people fought and died for you to be here, to be able to. They sacrifice life, limb, and every aspect of their being in order for you to be here, to have the right to walk into a booth and cast your vote. You don't have a right because your debt was paid for in blood and sweat before you ever were born. You don't have the right to quit. None of us do. Because before any of us were here, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents fought and struggled for us to have some sort of life so we weren't living in abject poverty in some third world country and unable to achieve anything. Okay, so that we weren't subjugated. We fought our own government to make sure that we weren't subjugated by that government. We all owe a debt. But if we decide that, we're going to be the generation of people who are complacent, if we decide that we're going to be the generation of people who are going to allow things to happen that shouldn't happen, well, then we're not committed to our future now, are we? It always astounds me when there's people who have children who say, I don't vote. You have children, right? Well, yeah. Well, they're going to be alive, right? Well, yeah. That government you're building right now, they're going to have to live through. They're going to have to suffer through. So if you're talking about, I'm committed to my children, then you got to vote. If you're talking about, I'm committed to the future of this country, you got to vote. If you're talking about, I'm committed to the future of my family, you got to work. You got to struggle. You got to build. You have to do that extra thing. Why not entrepreneurship? Because guess what? It's hard. And if you want to actually achieve anything other than a paycheck from some guy, you got to freaking work for it. Why do you do the extra things you do? Because of the fact that my children will live a better life than I lived. That's my goal. I want to make a future so that we'll even go to a different way. The entire reason why this temple exists is because of a young girl that I met at a Dollar Tree, or it was a dollar store, because she had no place to go when it was cold outside. because we had festivals at different times, but there was no place I could say, go here tomorrow. That's where this came from, because no pagan should not have should be without a spiritual home. No pagan should be without a spiritual home. You should always have some place to go to get knowledge or to get help or to have somebody say, you're not crazy. We can help you. Or at the very least, we may not be able to help you, but we can listen. No pagan should be looking at a Christian church and going, well, I wish we had that. That's why we're here. So this temple is not for me. It's for them. That's why we work. That's why we struggle. And that's why we have to continue to work and struggle. That's why there is no quit. There is no stop. There is no walk away. There is simply do the work. Because there are going to be those who are going to need a home. Like I needed a home. Karen Handel says that others do not define you. You define yourself through your words and your actions. Your level of commitment is a testament to what resides inside your heart. Your level of commitment and what you're committed to tells the world who you are. If you're committed to negativity, then you tell the world, I'm a negative person. You tell yourself that. If you're committed to growth and progress, you tell the world by what you do. You can talk all the jibber jabber you want. It doesn't mean anything, but you show the world by what you do. People, we call it talking a good game. A lot of people that talk a good game, but when rubber meets the road, the locust came and the firstborn of baby Jesus said I couldn't, and I got all the reasons and excuses in the world for why I'm not doing the thing that I believe in, the thing that I know needs to be done. I got all the reasons. The reason why people don't have a strong sense of self-worth in a lot of occasions is because they have not committed to anything. They have not committed to anything that they believe is worthwhile. Not that the world believes is worthwhile, not that society believes is worthwhile, but that they believe is worthwhile. They have not committed to anything that has meaning for them. And because of that, they have no sense of self. Because the things that they think are important, they come up with reasons why they can't do. And those reasons and those excuses are the truth of who they are. And so when they go to look at other people who have achieved things and compare themselves to those people, they go, well, I'm not doing a lot. I'm not a good person. I'm not this, I'm not that. But the only difference between people who achieve and the people who do not achieve is commitment. It's a choice. It's a choice. And you make it every moment of every day. What am I going to be committed to? And how is that commitment going to define me? How is that commitment going to change the world? I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to finish up here. Here's another thing. I wanted to put this in because I know it's personal. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. Mr. Wayne Dyer. I have a real issue with people who feel they have the right to judge you or judge me. I am victim of this as well. I do this all the time. I listen to what other people say about me, and I sometimes internalize it. It's a terrible habit I'm trying to break. Okay, because here's the thing. Nothing anybody thinks of you matters. At all. They have no idea who you are. They have no idea the life you've lived. They have no idea what you've suffered through. They have no idea what your struggle is. They have no clue whether they're your parents or your friends or your siblings or whatever else. They don't know. They're guessing. And then they're going to sit down and tell you how you're supposed to live your life. They have no idea. They don't even know how to run their own lives, and they're going to tell you how to run yours. People are committed to judging others in order to make themselves feel better about who they are. They sit and they tell somebody that they're wrong or this, well, I'm better than this person, so that makes me feel better about me. Because it's easier than actually committing to bettering themselves. One of the things that I teach all of my students is this, and my children especially. If you spend your entire life focused on doing the things that are necessary to make you the type of person that you actually want to be, that is a life full of work. Constant, vigilant work to improve yourself to become who you want to be. You do that, you won't have time to judge anybody else. Pay attention to your own house. Pay attention to who you are. Have you achieved everything that you want to achieve yet? I know I haven't. Have you accomplished everything you want to accomplish in this world? I know I haven't. And if you are focused on those things, you do not have time to sit in judgment of anybody else. And here's the fun part. Even if you did, it's none of your business. Period. Live your life. Focus on that. And then you won't have time to worry about anybody else. I want to leave you with this. The nature of who you are is revealed in the things you are committed to in your life. The truth about you is revealed through your commitments. You can't hide this particular part. Not everybody can see it. Not everybody's going to see it. And that's not the reason you should do it anyway. But there's going to come a time, and we all go through it, where you are going to take a real hard look at who you are. And those times are vitally important, and they usually come with trauma and pain and or some extraordinary circumstance. And when you get that opportunity to look at who you are, what you want to see in your reflection is someone worthwhile. The only way to do that is to live a life of, I won't say extreme, but serious commitment. Commitment to yourself, commitment to your self-improvement, commitment to the things that matter in your life, the commitment to the organizations and causes that bring you a sense of inclusion in the community, that bring you a sense of goodness in your heart, that you've contributed to the greater good. Those things, commitment to those things are what matter to you. And that's what's going to make you look in the mirror and say, I like this person. I love this life. I like who I've become, and I like who I'm becoming next. You want to feel good about you? You want to fight back against the demons in your head? Do something that matters to you. Commit to it and follow it through. That's how you live a life worth living. We will end as we always do with our prayer. May the goddess shine within and through you. May her healing spirit fill your heart. May her wisdom guide you. May her love embrace you. And may her peace bless you all the days of your life. So mote it be. Thank you for coming.
You have just listened to a Pagan Pathways Temple broadcast.
Yes. Before we go, if you stayed to the end, I sincerely hope you did. The temple still needs your donations. We still got rent to pay. We still got bills to pay. And we still want to get a new building of our own. So
event space, and a library available to our members. To find out more or to become a member, please go to
they're only $12 a month, so it's not that much. But they help significantly in order to keep our doors open. So if you have the ability to, please donate to the temple.
The bi-weekly Wiccan Service podcast is brought to you by
I've done the job. I've done the duty.
TechWitch Detroit for all your IT needs. Please visit us on the web at techwitchdetroit.com. techwitchdetroit.com. We can help.